Hello, welcome back to another episode of ZuCruEdu. Today's episode is all about zoo exhibit design, and it's something that we have quite a bit of practice with here while building our new zoo. So I want you guys to design an exhibit along with me today. So today we're going to work through the steps of designing our bobcat exhibit. This is our bobcat Hisser, and he will be the resident in this exhibit. You guys don't have to pick a bobcat though. I want you guys to pick an animal that interests you. We're going to be doing a lot of research on these animals, so pick something that you're really interested in. We've compiled a list of some helpful links that might help you do your research today, so check out the description to see those links. So once you guys have picked out your animal, the most important place to start is to learn about the animal's natural habitat. A habitat is where a plant, animal, or any other living organism lives. Bobcats can be found throughout North America and live in a variety of habitats. They live in things like forests, semi-deserts, mountains, brushlands, and have even adapted to urban life. The job of a zoo exhibit designer is to recreate the natural habitat for that animal. To do this, it must take into account the needs of animals, keepers, and guests. The most important are those needs of the animal. To consider the type of food the animal eats. How much water does it need? How much space do they need? And what kind of shelter would be best for this animal? When taking into account the needs of the keepers, you need to think about whether the animal and the keeper will be able to interact safely with one another. When accounting for visitors' needs, the exhibit designer needs to think about what they want guests to learn at each exhibit. They then figure out how to use exhibit design, messaging, informational signage, and overall theme to do so. So let's start our research. Here are some things to consider while you're doing your research. Look up the animal's scientific name, habitat and natural range, diet, water sources they might need, shelter, population and conservation status, physical descriptions, and any other fun fact that you might find. So we've already talked a little bit about the bobcat's natural range and habitat, but let's talk a little bit more about some information that might help us design the exhibit. Their diet consists mostly of small rodents, but can include rabbits, small deer, ground birds, and even domestic poultry and small livestock. A water source for these guys doesn't need to be large because they're not really fond of swimming, so a bowl is plenty. In the wild, they use various shelters like dens, thick brush, and even man-made structures. The population of wild bobcats is thought to be about 1 million. The conservation status is least concerned, but they are protected in several states. Bobcats have short tails, stand about 17 to 21 inches tall, and can be anywhere from 8 to 33 pounds. And a fun fact about these guys is that they are nocturnal and very good climbers. Let's get designing. First, we're going to pick a theme. A theme's going to make sure that our exhibit is cohesive, educational, and informational to the guests. For the bobcat exhibit, we wanted to focus on solving human and animal conflict in a peaceful manner. We will accomplish this by using a backyard scene. This will allow us to show guests that interacting with wild animals in your own backyard can be done as long as it's done responsibly. For example, leaving pet food out on your porch could attract wildlife, but it might not be very healthy for them. So always make sure to bring that inside during the evening. We can address this issue and other issues using this exhibit theming. Some things you might want to add are things like feeders. Do you have a giraffe that might like to eat from the treetops? What about water? Is your animal a swimmer? Do they like water? Think about shade. Will your animal need shade during the hot summer months? Adding different levels to the exhibit can help if your animal likes to climb, like a monkey. Do you need ground cover, like grass, dirt, or even rocks? And what kind of plant life could you add? Non-toxic plants they might want to eat, or just other native species that might be in the same area they would be. Now let's hear from one of our America's keepers who helped design the bobcat exhibit and hear what he has to say about why they chose some of the exhibit furniture that they did.
The key theme to this exhibit was trying to solve human-animal conflict because it is a native animal exhibit, being the bobcat, And they are very elusive animals that a lot of people don't realize that they share space with. So while designing this exhibit, we thought it would be interesting to include things that you would find in your own backyard. And to incorporate that in with other exhibit features that are necessary, like feeders, water, shade, climbing structures, ground cover, and even the plants that we put in here. Just for instance, as you see in this video, we zoom in on the blueberry bushes. It's just a cool way for us to have some interaction in here between the animal and the plant life. The water feature in here is a barrel with a non-working pump attached to it, but it still fits the backyard facade that we're going with here. And if you look on the side of the housing structure, you'll see firewood holders and a workbench, a birdhouse that looks like it's been worked on, and those give the climbing structures for the bobcat to reach the top of the house where he can be up high and feel safe and secure. And then one of the coolest things about this exhibit is that its focal point in the middle is a live pine tree that we have built it around to give natural shade and a more natural look to go with the whole backyard approach that we're going here.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of ZuCruEdu. And please send us any cool exhibits you guys might have designed with us today. Join us again next week when we talk about enrichment, which is one of the most fun parts of a zookeeper's day. Thanks again for joining us.